Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. First off, congratulations to Team India for winning T20 World Cup in Bridgetown. And this was a fantastic victory. I was just following it on ESPN Cricket Info. That 30 defending 30 balls, 30 runs off of 30 balls with 6 wickets in hand for South Africa. That's something that is written only in fiction books. India made it happen, and wonderful, wonderful performance. Even the ball by ball was very, very catchy. The takeaway here is that India has finally said that, look, we have the bowling and the batting and the fielding, that what it takes to become world champions. Somewhere in these three, one of them would not show up at the final or the crunch games. This time, India showed that purpose, steely resolve to win. I mean, the catches that some of the catches that were taken are going to be discussed for a long time. As India basks in the glory of its win, and there are going to be many people who will be talking about this for a long time. Now, let's take a look at the behavior of some of the other teams who showed up, because I'm clearly seeing that cricket world over is becoming now two levels. The top level is four teams that are equal or can compete hard with each other: India, Australia, South Africa, and England. And the others are just going to fade away. You saw how Bangladesh was terrible. I think Sri Lanka didn't even qualify, if I remember correctly. And Pakistan, what can I say about them? You know, some of the videos that are coming out now, that they ate beef when they were in India. All these things are just cheap shots at trying to make India look smaller. And we all know that these guys are good for nothing players. You do you know that the guy who said all this beef stuff, Shoaib Akhtar, it in one of the uh, trips in, I think it was in Australia, if I remember correctly. Either Australia or it could be even in Pakistan. I don't remember the place. That's not important. It could even have been in India. This guy, late night, drunk, he wants to sleep with a girl, and he is essentially knocking on the doors of every room in the suites there in a five-star hotel, and he ends up at Greg Chappell's suite. And this is the kind of sleazebag this person is. And he's talking about, insisting or being eating beef in India. Oh, Shoaib Akhtar, your use by date is long gone and you're done. And if India still wants to watch him as a commentator, I think we need to start having a list of people who are not welcome anymore. Look at the other guy, Haris Rauf, snapping at a Pakistani spectator, thinking that he is an Indian. And then he tries to justify it, saying, "Oh, I thought you were an Indian." I mean, as if snapping at an Indian spectator is okay. Bullshit, guys. You guys don't even know how to play the game. That cricket, meaning something that is fair, has completely lost its meaning as far as these countries are concerned, like Pakistan. And I'm going to come to England in just one moment. This way of behavior, where it's a game of chance, anyone could win on any day, and you just take your positives with the negatives and then move on. That's what you're supposed to do. And what you're seeing instead is all sorts of cheap shots, and now saying that, if you really value your life, come and play Asia Cup in Pakistan. I don't think that is happening. I mean, at least with the slender majority that the NDA has now, I don't think any kind of pandering of that nature will happen, because the people of India will say, enough, we don't need to go there. Like I said, the championship has now become two tiers. I don't think India needs to even show up there. Clearly, Sri Lanka is rebuilding. Bangladesh looks like a lost team. In fact, the only other team that is on the ascendancy is Afghanistan. And I'm not sure Pakistan has, like the first class cricket that it takes to come up with genuine players who will then become stars. I think what you're seeing is like a rapid declining of the quality. That's why. So this is where Pakistan stands, and it's really regrettable. We should always remember the one statement that 𝗤𝙁 𝘠𝘚 said, that every player, person of every citizen of Pakistan that visits India is first briefed by ISI, and then upon return debriefed by ISI. So these people are asked specifically to say some things, do some things, meet some people, which is why in the 2023 World Cup, there were very serious restrictions imposed on the journalists from Pakistan. They had to go, they could only go to specific cities, and even there, I think they were asked to report to the local police station about their presence, and they didn't like it. Of course, they didn't like it. In fact, one Dubai-based Pak national who was a commentator for one of the channels got pushed out middle of the series because she was trying to honey trap a Sri Lanka player. I mean, this is the lowest to which Pakistan stoops to. And ISI is trying to somehow do something, some mischief or the other in every possible way. And as far as the Indian Muslims are concerned, all I can tell you is, okay, so today you are not going to celebrate India's win. Tomorrow you will not have a Pakistani cricket team to celebrate. So just weigh on that. Next, I want to talk about England. Why is England whining so much? When they lost the semi-finals, it wasn't as if it was a close game. They couldn't put bat on ball. And they said that, oh, India had tailor-made the pitch for themselves, and that's why India won. If you look at that game, there was such a threat of rain that nobody even thought that the game would go the entire distance. It started late, and then because it was a morning game, there was enough time to finish it over during the day. So after all that, with so many starts and stops, every time the game stops, the momentum is lost. The bowler is, freshed again, and the batsman needs to go back and get into the zone. And with all that going on, and the stoppages were more when India was batting and less when England was batting. So to just say that, you did this, Michael Vaughns of the world, Nasir Hussain, I mean, these guys have become whiners now. Whiners, that's all I can say. You're not playing good cricket, and you don't really have the kind of gravitas or maturity to handle a loss. You were not in the game that day. That's all I can say. And contrast this with Australia, which also didn't do well, but they don't whine like this. They'll sledge you on the field. They will give you all kinds of things. They will question the legitimacy of your parents' marriage. But it's a hard game. They played hard. At the end of the day, the victor wins and goes on. You shake hands and that's it. That's how it should be played. And today, South Africa played very, 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 very well, very good cricket. But again, the choker tag, I guess, came back. And when they had the game almost in their hands, Klaasen got out. And then the rest, as they say, is history. Certainly, India showed that whichever type of wicket is delivered, dished out, that is, pitch is dished out, India would be able to rise to the occasion. For the first time in my memory, India had 6 bowlers, 3 match winners, 3 match winners in spin and 3 in pace, and every one of them delivered at crucial moments. That's what makes a winning team. And batting, well, come at the man, come at the hour, come at the man. Virat Kohli finally found form and he shepherded the innings. So good things happened here. Now, we should, India should essentially go back and take a bit of rest, and they need to actually do their calendar a little bit more of rescheduling, in my opinion. There's too much cricket going on. This itself, just came on the back of a grueling IPL calendar. I think they need to take a break for a few months before they recharge their energies and start playing cricket again. Good luck to India again. Now let's move on to the second topic, and that was the debate between Biden and Trump. And it was a self-goal of the highest proportions by Biden. There were so many snafus that I don't want to show you every one of them, but I just want to show you one 16-second video clip. Let's take a quick look at that.
Continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
So in just 2 lines, Trump just demolished Biden. He said, I don't know what he said. I don't think he's really in his senses. And what also is emerging, and people are now beginning to look at this debate very closely and take out snippets. There's one snippet that's damning in the sense that Biden is getting coached by somebody from the behind, or so it looks like, because he's focusing and then he listens. He puts his hand on his ear pod, and then he listens, and then he starts writing something down. So this is not allowed. This is not fair. Trump wasn't getting any help from his team backstage. So what it is that Biden is on his last legs as a president. I don't know what is his problem. He has cognitive problems. He has got even balance. He sometimes looks lost. We have been saying this for the longest time. I think within a few months of his presidency, we had said 3 or 4 things: that Biden is not running this administration, somebody else is. And we kind of hinted that somebody else could be somebody who enjoys the confidence of Barak Obama. And also within a few months, Sree Iyer 𝗖𝘅 and I speculated that for 2024 it is going to be Michelle Obama. So I'm going to now give you a list of 4 nominees, which I think in the order in which this is going to be looked at from the American Democratic Party as to how they want to choose their next president. Now, the key here is that we have to assume that whatever has been happening in the Democratic Party is going to continue. Why do I say that? Because the way the Biden administration has acted, deliberately opening the gates, though the borders, allowing so many people. I mean, we said about 8 to 11 million. Now people are saying the estimated count of illegals is 17 million. My own city, San Jose, has the 4th highest count of illegal immigrants. And where are they all housed? I don't know, but I'm afraid to ask this question, because suddenly it will be upon me, and you will have to, don't know what they are going to do, because no jobs are there, and the Biden administration cannot afford to pay them $1,000 a month forever. For doing what? And $1,000 a month for and where are they going to house them? They are now asking schools to house them. And what happens when schools resume again in September? So these kinds of problems have become too many, and I don't know where this is going to stop. And if 17 million illegals have come in, how are they going to be repatriated back? We are also hearing that at least 4,000 or 5,000 people who could be questionable in terms of their backdrop, what kind of training they've got, including some from China, not just radical Islamists, but China. And of course, we know many of the Khalistani people have also come in. So all these people are now interspersed completely over United States. How is the government going to track them down? Just yesterday, they gave an exemption for 300,000 immigrants from one particular country to stay for another 6 months or something like that. How are they tracking them down? Because I have seen some of the videos where the gate is open, anybody can come in. So terrible situation right now. It doesn't matter who is the Democratic candidate. It's going to be a huge problem how they are going to handle this crisis. We have to remember, Macron was a liberal as a president, and then he ended up passing some of the harshest laws against the illegal Muslims. So as a chief executive of a country, you have to take these hard decisions. So I don't think that it's going to matter whether it's Democrats or Republicans. This party of allowing people to come in indiscriminately is over. We already saw that now the borders have been sealed, and we have to wait and see how long it will be before the reverse starts happening. Under Trump administration, 4 years, United States has one of the lowest influx of illegals, lowest. And he also banned travel from 6 Islamic countries, and it was very clear, and he kept in US out of wars. So if anybody would take a step back and not look at it emotionally, but look at it like 4 years of Trump versus 4 years of Biden, you will know who the choice is. So getting back to the number of people who could replace Biden as the presidential nominee, they have to look at some things first. First of all, the gravy train that comprises of what the people in Democratic Party want. Who is really behind? It's easy to say it is deep state, but who is deep state? What is deep state? Is it just a bunch of billionaires who are saying that I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this? Is that the group that is doing it? Because US has so many lobbies, it is very difficult to pinpoint one and say, or one individual or one group and say that this is what is really running the country. So it was suspected that as long as Susan Rice was there, she was taking instructions from Obama, who was outside the government and doing all the managing of egos and getting some things done. But Susan Rice is not there for the last 1 year, and she was deliberately eased out because looks like there was a tacit understanding that Susan Rice would help pave way for Michelle Obama, the wife of Barack Obama, to succeed Biden. And this has been going on. We have been saying this for a long time. So don't say that I'm saying this for the first time now. You go back to Daily Global Insights, every alternate episode, Sridharji and I were talking about this as to who will be on the Democratic ticket in 2024. So I'm going to talk about 4 people. The top one, I think, is Michelle Obama. Number 2 is Gavin Newsom. At least Gavin Newsom has a record of being a 2-term governor of California. And that's the maximum you can do as a California governor. You have only 2 terms. So 8 years he has been governor of California. Mixed bag, but he seems to have reasonably managed COVID. He also showed exemplary judgment by striking down SB 403, which people warned him that if you do that, then many India-based entrepreneurs will leave California. That would be bad for business. You also remember that 1 in 3 startups in the Silicon Valley is an Indian American run. So finally, at least he did one right thing. So Gavin Newsom, he carries the backing of his relative by marriage. I have done an episode on how he is related to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is a powerful lady. She still packs quite a bit of punch, and she might be able to line up support for him instead of Michelle Obama. So top contenders are Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom. Number 3 is Hillary Clinton. Why Hillary Clinton? There is a certain sense of expectation that I need to have this thing because I've been promised this. So other than that, Hillary Clinton doesn't really have a lot going for her. She was a senator, and then she became Secretary of State, and then she ran for president. I don't think her record as a Secretary of State is that stellar. So I think she is more of an outside shot. I think the nominees are number 1 and number 2. And then you might all ask me, what about the natural successor, which is Kamala Devi Harris? Well, it depends upon how much the agenda that was supposed to have been carried out by the Biden administration is still to be done. And if that is quite a bit, and if those people still carry the same kind of weight that they did in 2020 now, then it is possible that Kamala Harris could be the next presidential nominee from the Democratic Party. I don't think any of them would be able to defeat Trump, because one concession that Democrats think they are going to lose is when they change their presidential candidate. As to why they persisted with Biden when they could have easily put the right candidate in front of Trump, so that at least they have 4 or 5 months for the country to get to know the new contender, is beyond me. So this is where things stand as of now, and you guys know as much about US politics as I do, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them now. Neta Mafia wants to know, if Trump wins and Democrats lose the election, will the regime change operation against Modi government stop, or the same will continue? Neta Mafia, this is a difficult question. You need to listen to some of my conversations with Sridhar Chittiala as well as Ankit Shah, because these are 2 different, they are looking at India from 2 different angles. One thinks that US is still going to be the dominant force, and the other one says that no, it's not going to be US, that it's going to be India, perhaps a couple of other countries that will be basically dictating terms in the next few decades. So from both sides, everybody is clear that the people who don't want Modi are those who feel that they are not getting everything they want from this government. But at the end of the day, as they say that, the excrement hits the rotating mechanism on the ceiling, that's what is going to happen, because there is going to be a food crisis coming down. Countries are having huge famines, and if this war continues, chances are that there's going to be a huge famine in the next year or so. And the times of these kinds of crises, which country steps up to help is going to be remembered by that country for a long time. I think India has always shown itself to be a friend of other countries, never show any interest towards trying to rob them of their natural resources or try to convert them in a religious manner or anything like that. And that essentially breaks the mold for the vested interest, because they all want to go and occupy a particular geographic piece for a particular resource. So this is where they don't like a strong Modi government. And whatever it is that happened, I think some of it was self-inflicted. That's where I'm a little disappointed with the Modi administration. There was a certain sense of entitlement that we are going to come, and the question is the margin. Well, you got the answer. Margin was not very good. You need to really work hard. That's why I think Modi came out with a congratulatory message for the Team India almost within a minute or two of India winning the World Cup. That's something new. Although the previous World Cup final, he did go to the dressing room and console India for losing that match, which I thought was because of a wrong playing 11. But anyway, that's matter for a different day. So I hope I answered your question. Dharini wants to know, I can only see Afghanistan genuinely happy for India. Dharini, I don't know how much you know, but the entire Afghan team stays in India, practices in India, and it is coached in India. So they are getting some of the best facilities possible. And this in itself is amazing, because they don't have these kinds of facilities in Afghanistan. I don't know how long this will continue, but as far as the game of cricket is concerned, if you see some exciting players, that makes the game very interesting. So clearly, India is now in pole position. It is dictating how cricket's future is going to be, and that, I think, irks England quite a bit. Next one. Satyam Sri wants to know how Barack Obama became so powerful in Democratic Party. Why are they worshipping one man? Satyam, do you know how he won his first office? See, he was what they call as a community organizer in Chicago. And there I think he was helping out one city council member. And the agreement was that the city council member would run for the higher office, maybe for state congress or state assembly or something like that, and that Obama would take her place. So somewhere along the line, what happened was that Obama did replace her, but she lost. So she wanted to get back into the old position, and Obama would not let her. And from nowhere, he suddenly became the youngest Illinois person to get to the Senate. And for that, he had a lot of help. And it is believed 2 multi-billionaires with R as their first initial were behind his candidacy. And he has never made any bones of his socialist leanings. It is just that America didn't see that when he was the president, but he saw the full face of that under Biden administration. And whether we agree or not, the progressive ideology comes to a large part from Barack Obama, and then it was taken forward by Bernie Sanders, who has now become like the leader of these progressives. Although he himself doesn't make a lot of statements, but he does turn the key of people like AOC or Ilhan Omar or Pramila Jayapal. It's very secular, right? Every color, every religion, everything. Yeah, you go and say the same thing. So this is how it happened. But going back to his first election, you know what he did? The last day of nominations, he showed that the other 2 contenders had made mistakes in their forms and got them disqualified. In other words, his first election wasn't won by Obama. He was the default candidate. Very clever. So he must have had some help, somebody who knew what the mistakes used to be committed while submitting their names. Unless another candidate objects, you cannot rule him out. That's why I was screaming from the top of my lungs, whether it was 2019 Wayanad candidacy by Rahul Gandhi or 2024, that check and make sure that he has represented everything truthfully. And I believe in both these cases, he did not say anything about his dual citizenship issue, because he had got the letter from the Ministry of Home in April 2019 to explain whether he is a British citizen. And if you are a British citizen, you are automatically disqualified from contesting for elections in India. So I hope I answered this question. Nobody is worshipping any man, but he is a very convenient face of some of these families that have R as their first initial. You guys can guess who I am talking about. Next one. Is Trump going to win in 2024? Sundar Kidambi, I don't know. What I'm seeing since 2020 is state after state is relaxing requirements for identification while coming up to vote, and that only means that it's going to be easier and easier to cast illegal votes. So I don't know. 6 states are the ones that determine the election, and this 6 could become 15 easily. It's not the entire country, so you don't need to do a lot of things to go your way. Some states can, influence the result. I can even tell you the states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Florida, Ohio. At 6 states. Those are the key ones. There could be more states also. Colorado is also becoming a little bit up and down now. So we have to see how that goes. Next one, please. National Human, what are your thoughts about petrodollar if Trump comes back to power? Good question. I really don't know, because what Biden also did was, during the initial months of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, Biden dug into America's strategic petroleum reserve. America has a lot of these deep caves, underwater caves, where they store crude. You can't store refined oil, you have to store only crude. And they have been doing this for a long time. But for the first time, I think the amount of draw from the strategic petroleum reserve was huge. So much so that people said that 2/3 of SPR, strategic petroleum reserve, was drawn by Biden to help tide over the crisis because of Russian crude not being available to Western Europe. So if you don't have that, and United States has deliberately not developed or not explored for crude off its shore, there is a lot of crude available off the coast of California, off the coast of New Mexico, the Mexico basin, Louisiana, Florida, that area, Texas even. So there's a lot of unexplored area. Plus, US can also produce petroleum from shale. Shale is a little bit more expensive to extract, I think $30 per barrel, whereas I'm told in Siberia it is like 50 cents per barrel of crude. That's how much it's easily available in Siberia. So if Trump comes back to power, I think certainly US would have friendlier relations with Russia, and some sort of a rapprochement will take place, and I think that will turn the whole thing around. I hope I answered your question. Next one. Postal votes, Arihant Lal wants to know, postal votes that brought Trump down in past elections will be continued against Republicans even in the upcoming elections. Yeah, the postal voting has always been there. See, the margin of victory, I think it was 13 million or something like that between Biden and Trump. So that's where the needle of suspicion points to. Usually the margin of victory will be like 2 to 3 million between the winner and the loser. Sometimes the winner will get less, but because of this electoral college system, the winner will still be polling less votes across the US, but be the president. For example, Hillary Clinton polled more votes than Trump. It's a strange situation. And they will talk about lack of democracy in India and other countries. Strange people. Gopal Pandey wants to know, did you study in Agrawal High School in Hyderabad? Yes, I did, Gopal Pandey. I graduated in 1976 from there. Great memories. Raj wants to know why USA is shying away from asking Bharat's help for conducting successful and transparent elections with Bharat's EVM. Raj, US is a very interesting case. Every person is a citizen of his state or her state as well as the United States of America. It is really union of states in United States. That's why the law changes significantly in some cases from state to state. And some states are strict, some states are liberal. And therefore, even the way the process of election of any official is decided not at the state level, but sometimes even at the county level. A county within a county is sort of like district. A district might say, I'm going to use this method to do the election, and you're allowed to do that, which is why you have so many different ways and so many different rules, where you live, how you vote. So all this confusion is being exploited, in my opinion, by the Democrats, and the Republicans have not really woken up to that fact. Plus, they are up to, they are really facing stiff competition. Nevada was a Democratic state. Only now it is becoming more Republican. So was Florida. It is now becoming more Republican. Texas also was a Democratic state. Now it is solid Republican. And Arizona, again, 50-50. Both sides are very, very strong. So these are all the places where any kind of mischief could happen. And it all depends upon states like Pennsylvania. It is expected that Pennsylvania, which is the home state of Joe Biden, could actually vote Trump and vote Republican this time around. If that happens, then the Democrats' goose is truly cooked. So Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly, has 20 electoral college votes. 20 is quite a bit. You need 274, if I remember correctly, to win. Next one. I mean, any one county could choose to use Bharat CVM. So it depends upon how well India markets it. Kannan Ramaswamy wants to know, DS will not allow Trump to be president, using every trick up their sleeves. Kannan, there is one thing that is very interesting now. See, the traditional Democrat vote came from the African Americans. And in 2020, 80% of African Americans voted for Biden, and they also vote in large numbers. Reminiscent of something else that happens in India. So this time, what we are seeing is that 80% has now become 70%, with 30% solidly behind Republicans. So if this is just one small segment, which is a solid Democratic vote bank, even in 2020, the Indian American vote bank was 35% Republican and 65% Democrat. Given what happened in the last 4 years, I expect this to turn completely the other way around. 65% Republican and 35% Democrat. And we are 5 million, and in very, very critical constituencies. Remember also, the balance goes back and forth in urban areas, not in rural areas. And that's where most Indian American immigrants are. Urban areas. You are doctors, professionals, lawyers, dentists, what have you, right? So that's where the big difference is. So there will be some stuff that will be tried, but I think if the Indian vote switches, and if the African American vote switches, and Mexican Hispanic American, which is basically all Hispanic origin, not just Mexican, because we have a sizable number of immigrants from Cuba also. So we don't know. There could be some interesting outcomes. But the other big thing that's happening is the blue collar workforce of United States, whatever is left, is becoming more and more Republican. And that is really of concern to Democrats, because these were the bases on which they were going to get all their votes. Next question, please. Satyam Sri wants to know, sir, आप France and Belgium के inner part में travel किए हैं? पूरा city खाली है और Islamic occupy करते जा रहे हैं. Very sad. I have traveled in France, but not in the recent past. But what I saw when I was traveling, kind of gave me the hint that this is going to be a problem. When I was in near Eiffel Tower, very aggressive panhandling, very aggressive panhandling. Recently, I went again, and this time it was a little bit less. But it is being overrun. What can I say? They have to figure a way out of this. I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar. I'm going to I'm going to be coming out with another big explosive revelation about a CIA operative saying who are funding the unknowns. So that's going to be coming in a few hours. Those of you who are staying up late, you will see that on P Gurus. Otherwise, you are going to get it most likely at 4 a.m. IST. So when you wake up, do look out for that particular monologue from me. Namaskar.